Hi there, I'm Dr. Neka Chugara, and I'm from Filthy Rich Mindset. And I need you to know that the rumors are true. We have a 7-step formula that, when applied correctly, gives you the highest chance of hitting $10,000 a month. And this is the fastest way to go from zero to a full-time income, because these 7 steps remove any guesswork from your decision-making process. These 7 steps will prevent you from making the mistakes that lead most people to failure. So as long as you follow these 7 steps, you are pretty much guaranteed to make money. And as I go through them, I'm going to prove to you why. So with no further ado, let's get into it. Now, let me let you in on a little secret. 95% of people who try to start a side hustle or try to start an online business fail before they even get going. And let's take a look at why. They often look at what guys like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are doing and assume that those people have the most profitable businesses. Whether it's they often look at an app, developing a software, or building an online store. There's a very big flaw in this line of thinking, because these businesses at a global scale are profitable, yes, but many fail to consider that there's a very different fundamental difference between you and guys like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg, who is doing a great job with his new app. They have unlimited cash. They're extremely business savvy, and they have unlimited access to the world's top talent. On the other hand, you don't have the same amount of money to start. No business experience and very little, but still some access to the world's top talent. Meaning, if you choose any of those business models, you'll be making a very grave mistake. It's kind of like trying to run an ultra marathon when you can't even do a lap around a track. Quite frankly, you'll be choosing the completely wrong business model for your career. And although they may be profitable ventures when they're operating in the billions, when you first start off these models, they're barely profitable, if profitable at all. So by choosing such models, you're literally setting yourself up for failure from day one. And that's exactly what 95% of people who are trying to make money do. And it's no wonder that most people fail and give up within their first few months. And in some cases, these people are left with thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars of debt by trying to start these difficult business models that involve investment or involve money to actually get it off the ground. And then they end up getting burned and kick themselves for thinking, how could I ever think that I could be an entrepreneur? Or how could I ever think that I could start an online business? When in reality, they just started off on the wrong foot from day one. So if you don't want to be part of that 95%, here's what you need to do. You have to pick a business model that focuses on your strengths rather than on the ones that highlight your weaknesses. And I think that we can all agree that building rockets or cars is not going to be the thing that takes you from zero to $10,000 a month. You know, the majority of go-to business models are just as bad as trying to build a rocket ship and send it into space. As a beginner, things like building an app, and I know, I have one of them, and things like starting an e-commerce brand, once again, I know because I've owned 4 e-commerce brands. It felt like I was building a rocket ship. Felt like I was building the Titanic. These are business models, they're very complex to get off the ground because they require top talent from product development and a lot of cash to get started, way more than you would expect. So the number one main priority when starting a business is avoid the wrong business model for beginners. Now the question is, how do you tell the wrong ones from the right ones? Well, here's how you figure that out. I've put together a chart that will guide you through the process of picking your perfect business model. There's basically 3 parameters that you have to consider. The first one is initial investment. If you need to burn through cash in order to get your business off the ground, the risk of you losing all your savings and potentially even going into debt is just not worth it. It's simply too risky, whereas if you have to invest $1,000 or maybe $2,000 to get the business off the ground, that is totally fine. That's what I call a calculated risk, not being a beginner and thinking that, hey, I'm going to plunge $10,000 or $15,000 or shoot $20,000 into this business model. Or I'm going to ask my grandma for a $100,000 loan from her life savings in order to roll the dice and potentially lose all my money. You need to understand that everything in life is offense and defense. So right now, it's most important that you pick a business model where if you don't succeed for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, maybe if you don't even succeed for a year, okay. Because maybe you've lost, $500 or even $2,000, but at least you haven't burned through tens of thousands of dollars and gone into debt that can plague you for life. Instead, you need to pick the right business model for your level, because the business model that you pick now is not going to be the same business model that eventually, if you want to make $10 million a year or $30 million a year, or you want to sell your company for $300 million a year, they're going to be two very different business models. So let's focus on the next step. Let's focus on getting you to $10,000 a month, because that's more of a reality than trying to reach for like $1 million out the gate. And I gotta tell you, when you're making $10,000 a month, things will change. Things will definitely become easier to manage, especially now being able to see the bigger picture, because you can afford things needed that your business needs, what your business needs. And very soon, in the next 12 months, when you do expand and your business is crossing 9 figures, I can tell you that making $10,000 a month was the hardest step, which is why you have to get it right from day one. Most people don't realize how much money goes into starting some of these more difficult businesses that a lot of people preach. For example, the majority of drop shipping stores, in order to find one successful product, they have to test 20 or 30 different products. And you're going to spend no less than $10,000 in order to make that happen. I've worked with brands that have so much success with their drop shipping stores, and these are businesses that were doing $10 or $20 million a year in revenue. And that sounds amazing, I know, until you realize that they were testing 5 to 10 products a day. And of that $20 million, the profit margin was 5%. They had a few dozen employees, and it was a whole operation. And then you look at something like software or app development, like mine, Filthy Rich Idea. Anyone on the IT team is getting paid over $100 an hour, and it takes at least a dozen of them to ensure that the software works. From the front-end developers to the UX team to React developers, it is costly, especially when you don't take a dime from investors or a loan to cover your expenditures. So when you're first starting out, you do not want to be in a position where every single day you see your bank balance going down and down and down without even any light at the end of the tunnel. You have no clue when you're going to make that money back. And unfortunately, that is the nature of businesses that require product development. You see, certain products will require an abundance of time and cash to burn, and that leads directly into our second parameter, which is product development. When you're first building out your business, you might want to avoid businesses that require development for all the reasons that I just mentioned. Now, you might be asking, what type of business doesn't require a product to sell? Because if you sell a product, then you're going to need to start off by going through product development. And that's why I always personally suggest starting off by offering a service. Services don't require you to spend money on product development because you are the product in a sense. You're selling your time, your effort, your knowledge. So you get to skip the entire product development stage. And if you're thinking, but I don't have any knowledge to offer, don't worry, because that's not a problem either. In step 7, I'm going to show you exactly how to get someone to deliver the services for you by using something we call contractor arbitrage. You get to do all of that without putting any of your own money down. And here's the real beauty of selling services rather than selling products. The guy that's building an app or starting an e-commerce store, for example, has to deal with product development, shipping, logistics, suppliers, margins, marketing, selling, customer service, supply chains, payment processors. I can go on. All while over here, there's a guy that all he does to make the same profit is just write some emails for some e-commerce store, or he's creating content for some e-commerce store, or finding influencers for an e-commerce store. Do you get it? The point is that this person doesn't need to focus on 15 different components of the business. They can simply focus on the service that they're offering, and that they make sure they offer it to multiple different clients, which makes the business a lot easier because you just implement, copy, and paste the same systems from client to client to client. And a lot of times these companies or agencies actually make more profit than the clients that are even selling their services to. They don't even make more revenue, but they make more profit. And at the end of the day, profit and having a cash flow business is the only thing that's important. Now, why is this? Well, it's because of the third parameter, which is quantity. You see, when you're selling products, you need to sell hundreds to upwards thousands of them, depending on the price point, just to make $10,000 a month. And that requires a lot of skill and usually a large marketing budget as well. Now, when you're selling services, you don't need to be selling thousands of units a month as long as you choose the right service. You can easily charge 4 figures a month, meaning you only need a handful of clients to get to that illustrious $10,000 a month figure. The less units you have to sell, the easier it is to get there, and better yet, when selling services, you don't need to invest a penny in marketing, and that's because you can find clients organically, which will cost you $0. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in step 4. Now, before we get there, the next obvious question becomes, what service should we offer? Because the services can literally be anything: fixing a leaking pipe, giving a haircut, developing a web app, running ads, or personal training. I mean, the possibilities are endless. However, some services are terrible options, whereas some will change your life forever, which leads us perfectly into the second step of this video. So step 2 is choose a profitable service. Now, to make it easy for you to tell what is a profitable service and what is not, I also put together another chart for this step. Here, we have 5 parameters, and if you get these 5 parameters right, you will have a very, very profitable service to offer. So like I was saying earlier, it all starts with price. I want you to be offering a service that allows you to command high ticket pricing. I recommend never going below $1,000 a month, but ideally something you can charge upwards of $2,500 a month for that. When you get your 4 clients, it's going to get you to $10,000 a month, which is very doable. Now, you might be asking, what sort of service allows me to charge $2,500 a month? For now, in order to answer that question, I'm going to present you with a concept that I only teach in my flagship program, Filthy Rich Mindset. You see, when it comes to commanding high ticket prices, it's not so much about the service you're offering, but rather how you frame it. And let me explain what I mean by that. You see, your service could simply be writing. And in one case, you could be writing blog posts for businesses, and you'd normally be able to charge $50, maybe $100 per post in a very good scenario. And that's because usually a blog doesn't add that much value for a business. It doesn't really generate sales majority of the time. So in that case, basically, what you're selling is convenience. You're saving businesses time by them not having to write the posts themselves. The problem is you can't charge much for that. Now, you could be doing the exact same thing, but instead of writing blogs, you could be writing ads or emails for the majority of businesses that sell online. These are their top sources of revenue. So if you want to write an ad or an email that performs well, you could literally double your sales overnight. And in this case, you're not offering convenience. Instead, you're offering ROI, return on investment. And the thing is, when there's a clear, measurable return from your service, it is way easier to charge high ticket prices. You could struggle to sell blog posts for $50 a pop, and instead just change your offer. Change the way that you frame it and sell email marketing or ad creation services for $2,000. And at the end of the day, you're still doing the same thing, which is writing. Instead, all you're doing is changing the positioning and the framing of it. Basically, you went from a convenience offer to an ROI offer. And by the way, just to clarify, when I say return on investment, it doesn't always mean monetary. For example, if you're a designer, you could sell logos, which have no measurable return out of them whatsoever, and everyone and their nephew are offering them. Or you could sell thumbnail designs for YouTubers. You're still doing the same thing, the same activity, graphic design work, but one is considered a commodity and the other is high impact. Even me in my position, I have a part-time video editor that gets paid upwards of $1,000 a month just to edit all our videos for our podcast, Rich Fridays. All Moise does every few days is just re-edit old videos, and he comes up with new concepts and ideas, and that's because I know that a good thumbnail or post can literally double the views of our channel, and so does every other content creator out there. Content creators understand that if you double the views, that also means you double the channel revenue. You get more sponsors and you sell more of whatever it is that you're selling. So although there's no direct financial ROI, there's still a very clear return for this activity, which again allows you to command higher prices. So at the end of the day, it's essentially the same service, and it's also the type of service that no one else is offering. By the way, it's important to consider your work regimen. That is remote work versus in-person work. You see, in-person work includes services like plumbing, personal training, sports coaching, or computer and phone repairing. And although you can charge high ticket prices for some of these services, it's going to be very difficult to scale because you are limited geographically, meaning they require your personal time to fulfill, and they limit your target market drastically since you're going to be attached to one location, all while sacrificing your freedom. And freedom, as we know, is key. While working online, you can sell to people all around the world, which has a target market of dozens of millions of businesses compared to just a few hundred when working in person. It's way easier to get clients and scale when working remotely. Plus, it provides you the opportunity of selling a reoccurring service rather than selling and getting paid once. You sell once and get paid every single month. And here's the beauty of that. For the majority of businesses out there, it doesn't matter if they sell $1,000, $100,000, or even $1 million in a month. In that next month, they start over from zero, a blank slate. Now, when you have a reoccurring service and you sell $10,000 worth of services in a month, well, the next month you'll get paid $10,000 again, even if you make no new sales. And if the next month you sell another $10,000 worth of services, you'll now get paid $20,000 the month after, instead of starting from zero every single month. You're always building on top of what you did the months before, which also means that you only need 1 to 2 sales every month in order to hit $10,000 a month. Within 3 to 6 months, and if you follow the step-by-step outreach method that I'm going to teach you in step 4 of this training, getting those 1 to 2 sales every month is only a matter of time. By sending enough messages, you never need to rely on luck or anything else that's out of your control. So to sum it all up, a good service to choose is the one that allows you to have a price point of over $1,000. Ideally, up to $2,500 a month is a recurring service such as a subscription. It's remote and is an ROI offer. Here are just a few of the services that my students inside the Ideation to Launch workshops have implemented and used to consistently generate over $10,000 a month, such as email marketing, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, social media influencing, content creation, wig making, and coaching. There are just a few of them. Usually, any type of service that helps businesses get more customers, whether that's directly or indirectly, is a great one to pick. Again, if you don't know how to deliver any of these services, I'm going to show you how to do this in step 7 through contractor arbitrage. The fact is, countless businesses, both worldwide and the ones that are right next to you, are always looking for ways to get more customers, and they're willing to pay top dollar in order to make it happen. I mean, just think about all the stores every time you walk down the street that have hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, in products or even services sitting inside and no one to sell them. And if you can help these people sell these products, well then, for them, paying you $1,000 or $3,000 or even $10,000 a month is change for them. A lot of that is called affiliate marketing. One of our clients, for her passion, she had interior design, and she wanted to turn it into property design and short-term rental management. She is living proof that if you pick the right business, offer a service, and an ROI, business can be profitable. Her services bring her $2,500 a month in just a retainer, and then she's still managing the properties and designing those properties, and she charges $1,000 to $20,000. She manages these properties remotely, and she only needs a few employees. And the best part, the demand outweighs the amount of people that are actually delivering it, meaning there's a gigantic gap in the market, and the people who take advantage of this opportunity are inevitably going to do well. Now, before you go out there trying to offer these services to every single business, I need to give you a warning. Not every business can pay you $2,500 a month. Whereas for some businesses, they don't even notice $2,500 a month on their expense sheet. That's why you have to be very specific and strategic on what niches that you choose. There's a few industries where signing a client for $10,000 a month is easy. Whereas in some niches, you can barely even get them to pay you $300 a month. So you have to choose wisely. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you right now. So the next step is picking the right niche. So here's the thing you've picked. It's your business model. You've picked a profitable service, and just with that, you are ahead of 70% of people who have started on this journey. But there's still a very important detail that you must pay attention to, and that's because even though you've chosen a profitable service, if you choose the wrong niche, you will still struggle to make money. That's why you must be selective about the niches that you work with. And once again, that's why I've created a cheat sheet that's going to remove any guesswork from decision-making process on what niches you should and shouldn't select. Now, the first parameter is very simple, and that's revenue, because you pick a niche where clients usually have high revenue numbers. You'll make more money. They have the resource to pay you well, and if you pick a niche where the service or product is low, your business may struggle financially. And from my personal experience, the clients that pay the least are usually the ones that are like the most headache to work with. So you might as well just go for the high paying ones. So let's put a number to it. I would not suggest working with any business that makes less than $50,000 a month, because when a business surpasses that threshold, that's usually where they have the resources to reinvest, and they also find value in doing so. So here's a few types of businesses you want to avoid. First are startups. They usually don't make any money, and they try to bootstrap and cut costs as much as they can. It usually takes years for them to become profitable, and that's not an environment that you want to be in. Second are one-person businesses. They usually view themselves more as self-employed than a business per se. And this also translates into their numbers being low revenue, which are usually way below the $50,000 mark. I mentioned the second parameter that you need to look at is also profit margin. Some businesses do make a lot of money when talking about revenue, but when you look at their profit margins, well then, it tells a very different story. Ideally, you want to work with businesses that have 40% or more in profit margins. Anything less than that, and you're going to run into the same problem as businesses with low revenue. And a few examples of low profit margin businesses are clothing stores, restaurants, apps, or retail stores. These businesses usually don't have a lot of spare cash laying around, and it usually takes a month to break even on the cost of acquiring a customer. So imagine if you bring a customer through your service, but that customer will only be profitable in month 5 or 6. It can be a bit of a sticky situation to be in. You want to work with businesses that when you bring them a customer through your service, they profit straight away. That's why the third parameter to pay attention to here is their product ticket. And what I mean by that is their average price that a customer pays them per transaction. Ideally, you want to be working with businesses that have a product ticket higher than $1,000. And that's with businesses that have a product ticket higher than $1,000. And that's because with only a handful of sales, they are already profitable on your service. Let me give you a very simple example. Let's say you help law firms to get more clients, and you do that through whatever service you deliver in order to achieve that. And let's say you're charging them $2,000 a month, and their average client is worth $1,000 to them. If you bring them 5 clients a month, they're already making, at the very least, a 2x return on their investment, already discounting their margins. And trust me, getting them 5 new clients a month is now a super easy job to execute, so that it's very easy to win. Now, on the other hand, imagine that you were working with a chewing gum company and their bundled product is $5. So for them to get that same return on investment, you'd probably have to bring them anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000 customers per month, considering their margins. And that, my friend, is an extremely hard job to do. And that client will hardly ever work out for you. So a few classic examples of good niches here would be servicing law firms, pool installation, home renovation, pest control, solar energy. And now I also want to encourage you to add an extra parameter to your niche and think a little bit outside of the box. You see, the best clients I've ever worked with were always very non-obvious and kind of quirky niches. For example, companies with weird products or services like portable stations and custom jewelry will easily get a lot of funding, so they spend on their marketing budget to please their investors, or companies with a lot of assets that makes your job easier. Here's what I mean. Companies with big email lists and those with a large following on social media with organic traffic. All of these can be used to your advantage and will make your job much easier. All of these are easy when clients that pay very, very well. And now I'm going to show you where to find these clients and how to get them to pay you $1,000 to $10,000 a month for your service. So the next step is how to get clients. You see, all businesses need are clients. We know that. But the perk of a service-based business is that you only need a select handful of clients in order to make a business full-time income with it, which means you have a big advantage. A business that is not scalable will require you to acquire hundreds or thousands of customers like an app. You'll be sending out thousands of cold emails a week trying to sell their products, and that may only result in only a handful of new clients. So for a scalable business, it doesn't matter. We'll gladly take those 5 to 10 customers because that is all we need in order to make $10,000 months. Now, I'm going to show you how to get your first client for free by using something called cold outreach. And here's the basic process of getting a client through cold outreach. Number 1, you compile a list of potential clients. Then you reach out to them. People in this list, you jump on a Zoom call with them and you sign them as a client on that Zoom call. It doesn't get any simpler or easier than that. And again, you're not going to be out here signing hundreds of new clients a week by doing this, but you can definitely get a handful a month, and that's all you really need in order to be making $10,000 a month with your business without ever putting any investment into it. Now, here's where most people fail in the process of getting clients with cold outreach. They just start prospecting, cold calling, cold emails, sending messages on Instagram without ever working on coming up with a high quality list of people to contact in the first place. You know what the number one denominator of success is when it comes to outreach efforts? Most people think it's about the script. Oh, the words they say in their outreach message. This only accounts for around 20% of your success when it comes to contacting potential clients. The other 80% is about who you choose to contact in the first place. You see, most people try to reach out to potential clients through cold email with an email that they got from some random website. Then when their response rate is terrible, they think it's because of the things that they're saying in their messages. Well, it's not. First, you need to figure out where are your ideal customers hanging out, and then you need to go there and talk to them. And I don't mean physically. By the way, don't show up at their doorstep. Let's say, for example, you're trying to sell your services to e-commerce brands. You know the best place to find them. Let's actually run through this exercise together. Open your Instagram, then find an e-commerce brand that's directly linked to the services or products you're going to be selling. For example, Firestone Tires. They manufacture tires. Then you go to their followers list and start opening up the profiles in there. Then read their bios, and you're going to find a bunch of e-commerce brand owners. Next, all you have to do is list them all and contact them, which I'll show you exactly how to do in 1 minute. And you can also do the same on Twitter by searching on the followers list of Shopify, for example. And you're going to find tons and tons of brand owners there. And by the way, Facebook groups also work for this. Working on compiling a solid list of leads will make your life 10 times easier when you're doing outreach. So after you've compiled a list of potential clients, it's time to start reaching out. And now I'm going to give you a bulletproof template, a bulletproof framework that you may need to tweak and change depending on the style and the way you speak. But I'm going to give you a framework that's going to help you book meetings with consistency if you stick to it. So it's composed of 5 parts. First, you simply greet the customer. Second, you give context and express a common value that leads you to contacting them. Then you use this common value to pivot to an opportunity point. Then you take the pressure off of them, and then you show them that you can help them. And finally, you invite them to a meeting. Let's break this down and take a look at this in practicality, using the example of selling Facebook ads to an e-commerce brand owner. In step 1, you're going to introduce yourself. So you say, "Hey Josh, how are you doing?" Step 2, you give some context and express some common value. "I stumbled across your profile while reading one of John Smith's posts on Instagram, and I noticed that you liked the same post. I love that guy. He has some solid plugins for increasing conversion rates on Shopify stores." And this is very important because when a person receives a message through cold outreach, their first thing is that their guard's gonna be up. They're gonna think, well, how did this person actually find me? Which then allows you to move on to step 3, which is pivot to an opportunity point. Here we go. "Anyways, I was taking a look at your profile and I noticed that you have a brand that sells online, but I wasn't able to find any active ads running for your store." And this answers the very next obvious question, which is, why is this person contacting me? And bear in mind, whatever it is that they do, you can mix things up. Let's say, for example, this person was an author, or this person was a very successful YouTuber. Well, then you could be like, "Hey, by the way, I looked on your TikTok and you had one TikTok account, but I noticed that you haven't been creating multiple other TikTok accounts in order to spread your message farther." So whatever service you offer, you can find a reason of why you're contacting them. And that could be either because they're not doing something that could be making them more money, or they're not doing it well enough, and you can help them with that. And that leads on to step 4, which is take the pressure off of them, saying something along the lines of, "Hey, I'm not sure if that's something you're currently working on, or you just haven't had the time yet." You never want to point out a fault in someone's business without acknowledging that it's not their fault. in a sense, because people take that very personally. You don't want to come across as argumentative or in a wrong way. So you always want to sort of soften the blow of you noticing that this is something that they're not doing or could be doing better. Now, step 5 is show them how you can help them by actually helping them. So you go on to say something along the lines of, but I'm sure a few ads would help you increase your sales. So I've taken a look at what a few other brands in your niche or space are doing, and I found that these 2 ads are working extremely well for them. And I actually record this video breaking them down for you. And here, you send them a 3 to 5 minute video breaking down the ads or whatever relevant info you can provide them with based on your service. The thing here is, since you'll be prospecting people in the same niche or space, you only need to record 1 Loom or video, and you can use it with all the same potential clients. Record it as if it was for one specific person, but just make sure not to mention their brand or their name, so you can always use the same 1 video, and you can find good ads by searching on Facebook Ads Library for some ads that have been running for a few weeks. It's really great because Facebook ads will let you know what those stats are. It really shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to find them, and record a quick 3-minute Loom, which, just by the way, Loom is free, loom.com. The next step is to invite them to a meeting, and you could say, hey, if you think those could work for you, I have a few angles in mind that you'd be able to quickly record and put them to test within a few days. If we could jump on a call so I can walk you through them, I can show you the benefits. And by the way, make sure you're sending each part of this script as a separate Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn message so it looks more organic rather than one massive paragraph, because, well, it'll feel a little too formal and we don't want their guards up. No need to overcomplicate things, guys. Now, here's what it takes to get to $10,000 a month with this process. Let's say you source a list of 60 people to reach out to. We went to the Firestone Tires and we found 60 brands that communicate with them. And it took you 2 hours to do that. That means that in a total, it took you 2 minutes per profile. Then you consider the time you spent messaging these prospects. Let's say it took you a total of 2.5 hours to send all these messages. Well, that means that the average time per message sent was about 1 to 3 minutes. So now, here you are. Let's say you're at 5 minutes spent per contact per person in total. Considering both steps, 2 minutes of finding the profile and 3 minutes of sending the messages, obviously you do these in bulk as separate activities, but when brought together, it's 5 minutes per potential client. Now you have to figure out how many messages you need to send in order to get a response. So let's say that for every 6 messages you send, you get 1 reply. 5 minutes to send a message times 6 messages, which means your total time per reply is 30 minutes. Now, how many replies do you need in order to get a meeting? Let's say you need 8 replies. Well, 30 minutes per reply times 8 replies equals 4 hours. So in total, you need 4 hours in order to secure a meeting. Now, how many meetings do you need in order to secure 1 client? Let's say you have to take 5 meetings to close 1, which means 4 hours to get a meeting times 5 meetings. That means in total, you'd have to invest 20 hours to close your first paying clients. 20 hours, guys. How does that sound to you, investing 20 hours up front in order to get paid $500 to $2,000 a month every single month? And I personally think that's worth the effort right now. All the numbers I use here are very realistic, but let's say because this is your first time doing it, it's gonna, take you a little bit of practice. You're gonna have to figure out the ropes, etc., etc. I get it. So let's double it. Let's say 40 hours to sign your first client. And now let's even go a step further. Let's say after you sign your first client, you dedicate 4 hours of your data outreach and 3 hours of your data service delivery. That's way more than you need for service delivery, by the way. Now, in case you don't have 3 hours for service delivery because you work a full-time job or study full-time, I'm going to show you how to get this done for you by someone else or through automated software in step 7. This way, you can get it down to only 2 hours per week that you have to spend on outreach and service delivery. But for now, let's call it 4 hours for outreach and 3 hours for service delivery. And you manage to get your outreach time down to 20 hours, as in the first example I gave in your 5 working days. You are going to sign your second client and do it for 1 more week, and then you sign your third. And you do this for 1 month consistently, and you already have 4 clients paying you anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 per month, because now you also have more experience and have the confidence to charge more. And you're also going faster with this process. So let's take the average between the two and say that your average retainer is now $2,000 per month. If you work for 60 days on this and manage to sign a new client every 12 days at $2,000, you will already be at $10,000 a month. And that's extrapolating by more than a double than our original calculation of 5 days to close a working client on 4 hours a day. This is the most simple, straightforward, and the least riskiest way to get to $10,000 a month. You put together a list of potential clients, you reach out to them, you book a meeting with the ones that reply and sign them as clients, and then you rinse and repeat until you get to $10,000 a month. And by the way, the process of getting to $100,000 a month is exactly the same. You just need more clients or charge a higher monthly retainer. Now, to make this much in a regular job, it takes lots of qualifications, decades of work experience, and slave-like hours. But when you start a service-based business or an agency, making $100,000 a year is the norm. Now, usually when my students in the Ideation to Launch workshop get to this part of the process, their number one question is, well, how do I get paid? And quite frankly, this is the easiest part of the process. So let me show you how all you need to do is create a Stripe account. And in case Stripe isn't available in your country, you can use other payment processors such as PayPal or Payoneer. All 3 payment processors are free to set up. Once you set them up, you connect them to an invoicing software. For example, I personally use Agilis. Now, I'm the founder of Agilis, so obviously I'm a little biased about it. It lets you send invoices, communicate with clients, you can schedule meetings, so no more Calendly, you can track your outreach efforts, and basically everything you need to run an agency. But anyways, once you connect Stripe to the invoicing platform of your choice and schedule your meetings, you jump on a Zoom meeting with your potential customer. You can now pitch them on your services. A majority of people get stuck here and overthink how much they should charge. My advice is to keep it simple. Start with $1,000, then work your way up to $2,500 as you sign more clients. And inside of our Ideation to Launch workshops, I teach you exactly how to structure performance-based billing models, which will make your clients a month to $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month. And personally, my biggest retainer that I've ever had in my 16-year journey of running businesses was $33,000 in a single month. In fact, we've even had 4 students that have managed to surpass that mark. But that's a conversation for another day. So when first starting out, keep it simple and just charge $1,000 a month. Then once you've pitched the service and your potential client has agreed to work with you, all you have to do is send them an online invoice with the invoicing software that you've set up. And then they pay you, and voila, congratulations, you have your first paying client. Now, the only question we have left is, how do you actually deliver the services that leads us directly into our last step? Now, have you ever stopped to look at how the biggest service-based companies actually operate? The ones with swanky offices and hundreds of employees? They have a very simple model. They pay their employees, let's say, $10 to $15 an hour, and then they charge their clients $50 an hour and simply pocket the difference. They simply figure out how much to charge your client based on the number of hours that the project will take, their overhead, and how much they're paying their employees. Then they're going to add an extra 100% to 300% markup on top of all of that. That is literally their entire business model. All of these businesses that we put on a pedestal make tens of millions of dollars a year, and that's their business model, guys. But what I'm going to suggest is even smarter than that. Instead of having to deal with the risks that come with typical employment relationships, such as fixed payroll and long-term contracts, we're going to hire a contractor who already has experience with some or all of the services you're going to offer. And we're going to do that on a per client basis. So what does this mean? One, we don't have any risks on our end because we'll only pay our contractor once we've already been paid by the client. You see, the client pays you on day 1 and you pay the contractor on day 30. The same way traditional employees get paid at the end of the month is how you can charge. You will set up your service or your product where you get paid up front. For example, a web design agency will have you pay up front for the project to get started. A law firm will also charge you a retainer before they begin to work on your case. And both of these examples will still pay their employees or contractors at the end of the week or bi-weekly or monthly. So just like them, you won't ever have to pay anything out of pocket. And you only pay them once you get a client. And as I explained before, this is what we call contractor arbitrage. I mean, it's the exact same thing that Uber or Lyft does. Think about it. Whenever a new driver registers to join Lyft or Uber, as a company, doesn't have to add any extra risk because that driver literally doesn't cost them any money, all while adding new potential revenue to their bottom line. And it's only after the driver generates that revenue that Uber or Lyft pays their fee. It's free cash flow for companies like them. And just like me and my businesses, we're going to do the exact same thing. This way, you're never going to run into cash flow issues and you're never going to pay anything out of pocket. And the craziest part in all of this is that it's actually cheaper to hire an experienced contractor who speaks impeccable English from countries like Nigeria, South Africa, New Zealand, Peru, Colombia, Brazil, Pakistan, Indonesia, Philippines, and a bunch of other countries than it is to hire someone who just graduated from marketing from a university here in the US and has literally zero experience. And I mean, I've hired so many people from countries like Pakistan, Ukraine, India, and Nigeria, and they're all extremely good at what they do. And here's how you structure these deals. The way that our students usually structure their deals with contractors is they pay them anywhere from $250 to $1,000 per month per client. Then they charge these clients anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 a month. Here's an example from one of our students, Jamie, who signed a $7,000 deal that he outsourced for $1,200 while working and enjoying life in Hawaii. And he can work this out depending on the retainer and the amount of work each client requires. I personally never suggest going below 60% margins in order to keep your business very profitable. And the best part is you're making a real difference in the lives of these contractors, because if they were working the same job in their own countries, they would work way more and make 5 to 10 times less when getting paid in their own country's currency. Of course, I was always very transparent with my contractors of how much I was charging clients, and I suggest that you do the same. The next question is, how do you actually find contractors to work with you? You can look in a lot of different places like LinkedIn or Upwork or other business-related and job listing social platforms. But by far, my favorite place to find them is on Upwork or Facebook groups. These places are crowded with good potential contractors. I mean, think about it. If someone is actively engaging in a Facebook group in order to sharpen their skill set, well, that's a very good sign. And I'll let you in on a little secret. The best types of groups with the highest quality of contractors available are the closed communities. Usually, you can get your job listing posted in the groups by contacting one of the admins because it's in their best interest to offer job opportunities to their customers, their students, everybody who's in the group. So that's how you take advantage of contractor arbitrage to get all the service fulfillment taken care of by an experienced professional without having to do any or much of the work yourself. It is truly beginner friendly. I want you to copy and paste this simple business model because literally anyone can do this, and I mean anyone. I mean, how awesome is it that this beginner-friendly business model is allowing people to make 5 figures from the comfort of their own home, even in third world countries? I mean, these 7 steps are designed for you and are a map to achieving financial freedom. If you could just take one thing out of this video, it's that achieving financial freedom is kind of like climbing a mountain. If you want to successfully reach the top of the mountain, you need 2 things. 1, a map to show you how to get there, and 2, a safety net that prevents you from falling through the cracks. And you need these because 2 things can inevitably happen. You may get lost along the way and you'll fall, but if you have a map, you'll always find a way back to the trail. And if you have a safety net, even if you fall down, you will always be able to get back up safely. Now, what I just delivered to you is a tiny part of the map. I know. It's time for me to give you the real deal on exactly how to start this process. Going over every detail of starting an online business from scratch, and luckily, as I mentioned to you earlier, my flagship program, Ideation to Launch, is the complete map you need in order to start your own business from zero and scale. It passed $10,000 a month in the shortest time frame possible. And that happens because we help you do this. We do this all in 1 week, and you don't even need any prior experience setting up a business because, like I said, we will do it for you. The week will be broken down into 3 parts. The first one is the foundation, and here we set up everything. That is how to choose your service to your offer, how to choose your niche within a field, how to get paid, how to prepare yourself to onboard clients, how to find experienced people to delivering the service for you. Basically, everything you need to get up and running, but also what mindset you need to adopt in order to succeed in this game, and how to prepare yourself mentally, how to structure your days, and all the mindset stuff that is just as important that no one talks about, like limiting beliefs and procrastination. And after this part, we would have set up the entire structure and everything you need in order to start signing clients and getting paid. So logically, the second part of the map is showing you exactly how to sign clients. This stage gives you the step-by-step action plan to start signing clients, where to find them, and exactly how to reach out to them. Also, what to say to open the conversation and get them in a Zoom meeting with you. And then finally, exactly what to say during your meeting in order to get your potential clients to trust you. And as a result, sign and get them to pay you on the spot, because that's what we want. We want that bread. After this stage, finding clients will never be a problem to you ever again. You will have acquired the skill of attracting people who want to give you money on demand. And finally, our last stage covers how to exactly deliver results in this stage. We go in depth on the best practices of service delivery and teach you step by step how to master the service that I consider to be the most profitable and scalable. One, which is paid ads. And after this stage, you'll become a master at getting killer results for your clients through paid advertising, even if you've never run an ad before. And when you apply this knowledge, you will have a business that is ready to pay you anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 a month while providing you with time and freedom, what we are all craving. I want you to take this example from Jackson to understand the power of this map that I'm going to give you. You see, Jackson signed his first client for $2,000 about a month ago, and he's now gotten paid a total of $6,000 from just this one client alone. And he will still continue to get paid by this very same client for months, potentially years to come. I mean, Think about how much this one client alone can generate him in his lifetime. Tens of thousands of dollars in all of this because he sold a client once. And after that, all he has to do is deliver the services, which once again can easily be outsourced by taking advantage of contractor arbitrage, with which I also cover very in depth inside of our ideation to launch workshops. Now, the other thing that you need on this map is a safety net. And the reason we have such a high success rate inside of our program is because of the safety net. We've noticed the majority of students fail because they fall through the cracks. They get stuck choosing a niche, or they choose the wrong service, or they don't send enough outreach messages. So we create the safety nets to avoid you from falling through these cracks. And we have 3 levels of safety nets to avoid this from happening. The first safety net is the community we form around you. You're going to find people starting at the same time as you, from the same level as you, and you'll get to share the journey together. It's extremely important to have people walking alongside you, especially when times get tough, because it stops you from feeling like it's you against the world. Inside our community, you're going to find other students who are farther ahead of you in their journey and who can help you with other problems or similar problems because they've walked the same path before. And I'm very proud to say that inside of the ideation to launch workshops, you're going to find a level of community you are simply not going to find anywhere else. Inside of it, you're going to meet people like Marcus. See, someone like Marcus, he scaled his business into a thriving $30,000 a month business. Or Ellen, who's still in high school. I mean, she's a high schooler, guys, and already has 17 clients on retainer 3 months after starting her outreach. Or guys like Nick, who went from 0 to 10 clients in a month and managed to get his own place in downtown Nashville. And he's only 18. I think he just turned 18. And this leads into our second safety net, our expert team of coaches. They are experienced and have been where you are, where you've been before. They will always be available to answer any questions via text or email. And you'll also have me. Remember, this won't be your typical program because most of the tasks to get your business going will be done for you by us, from filling your business documents with the state and then filing them, getting your website and your email accounts together, to getting your business funded. Also, making sure you have business credit. And if we have to fix your personal, we'll do that. We're going to help you every step of the way. The second will be delivery. So here's how the coaching calls work. Every single week, we have multiple live coaching calls on sales, service delivery, outreach, mindset, strategy, accountability, and more. I mean, you can literally jump on these calls, unmute yourself, and ask one of our expert coaches whatever you want. And here's what happens when you go into the coaching calls. Ask good questions, and they're going to teach you whatever you need to learn. Having these coaches as your safety net, ready to answer any of your questions and help you get unstuck, is like striking a gold mine. And because of them, those who are in our ideation to launch workshops are the ones who go on to achieve success compared to the ones that fall through the cracks and never make it out. Finally, we have our third and probably most insane level of safety net, and that is our dedicated one-on-one coaches. When you join the ideation to launch workshops, you get an assigned coach on day 1, which is usually on a Monday, your first week. And they'll be the ones setting up your business for you and explaining how things are done. And if that coach is not me, you'll get another coach who can guide you on your journey and provide you with the most insane level of mentorship you can find in any online program. You're going to have a kickoff call with your dedicated coach on any Monday, like I said, of your choosing. And then that entire week we'll meet for about 90 minutes to set up and discuss strategies and get information that we're going to need to get you going. After that, we're here as coaches to help you throughout the year on various things that will be important to your business, including making sure that you're accountable. Yup, you're not just gonna let us do it all for you, and that we help to keep you on the right track throughout your journey. With our ideation to launch workshops, we've actually taught over about 10,000 students to date. Now, don't get me wrong, we help students who open up hair salons and offer dog grooming services, which aren't going to sell thousands of dollars, but that is still okay. Our students enjoy the workshops because regardless of the service or product that they're offering, we assist them with all types of business niches and services. Our average student takes around 37 days to sign their first paying client, and the average client retainer of our student is $2,000 a month. And the real beauty is that after they sign their first client, it takes them around half the time to sign their second one. And at this point, they're already making a full-time income. I mean, for any type of degree that provides you this type of compensation, colleges are charging an average of $57,000 a year for the 4 years it takes to graduate. That would equate to over $250,000 invested into your education. And I'm not even sure if we're including housing and food, depending on the college you go to. Now, from the very second we developed the Ideation to Launch workshop, the mission has always been the same: to deliver 10 times the impact on your income for less than 2% of the price tag of a regular college education. I mean, our student testimony has already provided that we deliver 10 times the impact on your income. Less than 2% of the price tag of a regular college education. That $250,000 I just mentioned would equate to $4,500. But to be completely honest, I think I can give you a completely done for you business setup for a little less. I know that $4,500 can be a little bit out of reach for some. So if you want to get access to any of our Ideation to Launch workshops and our community of coaches for a limited time, our team at Filthy Rich University and our sponsoring charity, Beacon of Hope Outreach, are going to cover $1,000 to help you get started. Yes, great, right? That means I'm going to shave off $1,000. I think that sounds better, and if that is too much for you, we do offer funding to cover that so that all of this is really easy to get started. I really want you to win. You know, that means that we can finance you for about $100 a month. You've picked the terms and we get you going. From whatever date you pick, we will have your business set up and going in 7 days, guys. Just 7 days. Get locked in and make that business idea a reality today. And listen, this offer may not be available in the next few days or weeks. So just remember, right now, at this exact moment, we are living at a time when businesses are firing and letting go of people in the thousands. The time is now for you to take charge of your business. Set yourself up so that you are free of that 9-to-5 workflow where you are making money for someone else. You know, the more that you wait, the more that you procrastinate, the more that you have self-doubt, you're gonna make yourself sick. I don't want you regretting that what you haven't done. And I know you deserve in life, and that is your financial freedom. There are other people right now that are so afraid, and there are those who are like, I want to make that investment in my idea, because if in 30 days I can start generating thousands of dollars, what is $3,500 to make that a reality? Those people who are saying yes to their dreams are taking your potential clients. I know you know people are doing that very same idea that you have in your head. These people are taking the 4, 5, and even 6-figure monthly sums that you should be paid because they didn't procrastinate. Don't let that dream be another dream gone unrealized, because if that is what you did last year and the year before, I want to let you know that I want you to make it. And like I said, I want to make it easy for you. You need funding to pay this $3,500 amazing deal for us to set up and create your business for you, plus provide you software for your business, get you funding so that you can get your equipment. You need coaches, then I'll give you that funding so that you really only need to pay around $100 a month to get this going. Remember, if you're not the one getting paid these 4 to 6 figure monthly sums, then someone else who's watching this video that did come into the Ideation to Launch workshop will. You have that business idea for a reason, and that is because you saw a need. So if you don't offer the solution to those potential customers, someone else will. Someone who's been watching this video will do so. So will it be you or them? Let's get what's yours. No more procrastination. We have met for a reason, and I am making this path to entrepreneurship easy for you. Click on the button below and let's get this money, baby. And if there are any questions that I did not answer in this video, or if you're having any problems completing your purchase, you can book a call with one of our student success team members, and we'll personally help you with any kind of question or issue, whether it's you need the funding or you just need to have your card charged, whatever it is. So I want you to know that I'm rooting for you. I'm here to see you succeed, and I'll see you inside of our Ideation to Launch workshop on Monday.